Beneath America's streets lies another world, silent, hidden, and alive. A maze of tunnels, sealed rooms, and forgotten cities that were never meant to be found. You walk above them every day in Seattle, in Portland, in Los Angeles, unaware that an entire ghost country exists beneath your feet. Some were buried by disaster, and every few years someone opens a doorway that was never supposed to be opened again. But the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Because these tunnels aren't just relics of the past, they're connected. One city buried beneath another, one secret built on top of the next. So the question is, what was America trying to hide beneath its own foundations? And why does it feel like whatever's down there is starting to wake up beneath America's surface? When we picture American history, we imagine what's above ground. The monuments, the battlefields, the cities that reach for the sky. But the real story of America isn't just what we built, it's what we buried. Over the last 2 centuries, entire neighborhoods have vanished beneath our feet. Fires, floods, and modernization didn't erase them, they entombed them. Instead of rebuilding beside the ruins, engineers simply built over them. Street levels rose and the old world disappeared below, sealed away like a time capsule under the noise of modern life. Today, people drive to work, walk their dogs, or cross city squares, never realizing they're moving above forgotten storefronts, silent alleys, and tunnels that still breathe the air of the 1800s. And yet, not everything below was lost by accident. Some places were hidden deliberately, because sometimes what we bury isn't gone, it's protected. And what's buried long enough eventually tries to rise. The city beneath another city. Beneath the bustling streets of Seattle lies another city, silent, dark, and frozen in time. It's a place that shouldn't exist, a buried duplicate of the downtown we know today, hidden beneath layers of concrete and glass. To walk under Seattle is to step back into the 1890s, when the city's streets weren't above the ground, they were the ground. In 1889, disaster struck. A carpenter named Jonathan Back accidentally started a fire that devoured 25 city blocks. It was one of the worst urban fires in American history. Wooden storefronts, sidewalks, and saloons, everything turned to ash. But Seattle didn't stop. The people rebuilt, fast and ambitiously. Yet this time, they chose not to rebuild the ruins. They built over them. You see, downtown Seattle sat on soggy tidal flats that constantly flooded. So when the fire cleared the old streets, the city decided to raise them, literally. Workers hauled in tons of dirt and rock, elevating the new sidewalks nearly 20 feet higher than before. The old city, entire blocks of shops, hotels, and saloons, was sealed underground. For a while, people still used the old streets. Imagine walking down a dark alley, sunlight barely touching your face from 20 feet above, while wagons and pedestrians moved on a new level overhead. A strange double light, one world below, another above. Over time, the lower streets were abandoned. Windows were bricked up, doors sealed. The tunnels became passageways, then ghost corridors. And as the decades passed, the world forgot, but not entirely. In 1965, a local historian named Bill Speidel rediscovered the underground city. He turned the forgotten tunnels into a tourist attraction. The Seattle Underground Tour. Beneath Pioneer Square, visitors now wander through eerie hallways where sunlight flickers through old glass skylights in the sidewalks above. You can still see signs of the old world, shop fronts with dusty windows, half-buried staircases, decaying wooden beams, and faded advertisements painted on brick. Yet for some, the tour only scratches the surface. Urban explorers, historians, and even former city workers whisper that not all tunnels are mapped. Some lead far deeper into sealed vaults, hidden rooms, and forgotten chambers built long before the city was raised. A few claim those areas were used for smuggling during Prohibition. Others say they served as shelters during World War II, or hiding places for something more mysterious. Whatever the truth, Seattle's buried streets remind us that history never disappears. It simply hides, waiting for the curious to find it again. The City of Shadows. Beneath Portland's charming streets of the coffee shops, the neon bars, the art galleries, lies a darker world few talk about. A labyrinth of brick tunnels and narrow passageways that once connected the city's basements to the docks along the Willamette River. To most, they're known as the Shanghai Tunnels. But to those who truly understand their history, there's something else. A ghost network of human trafficking, smuggling, and survival. In the late 1800s, Portland wasn't the hip, green city it is today. It was rough, chaotic, and booming with opportunity and danger. Sailors, lumbermen, and travelers from across the world poured into the port, and so did the criminals who preyed on them. Local legends say that these tunnels were part of an organized system for Shanghaiing, the kidnapping of men who were then sold to ships bound for Asia. The method was simple, brutal, and effective. Victims were drugged or knocked unconscious in waterfront bars, dropped through trapdoors, and dragged into the tunnels below. By the time they woke up, the ship was already at sea. The tunnels stretched for miles under the city. Some led directly to the riverbanks, where boats waited in silence. Others wound beneath hotels, opium dens, and gambling rooms. Dim lanterns, dripping pipes, and the smell of damp earth. That was the air of Portland's hidden underworld. For decades, people whispered about ghostly cries echoing through the tunnels, about footprints appearing in dust where no one had walked for years. And while skeptics dismissed these stories as urban myth, historians uncovered undeniable evidence. Cell-like rooms with barred doors, wooden holding crates, shackles still bolted to stone walls. Artifacts that tell a story far darker than any legend. But what makes the Shanghai tunnels even more haunting isn't just what they were, it's how long they remained in use. Even after Shanghai faded in the early 1900s, the tunnels found new life during Prohibition. They became secret highways for bootleggers smuggling whiskey and rum from ship to saloon. Later, during World War II, some sections were rumored to be converted into bomb shelters. Today, parts of the tunnels are open for tours, sanitized, safe, and full of ghost stories for curious tourists. But those who've gone beyond the approved paths tell another story. They speak of bricked-up corridors that don't match old maps, of doorways that lead to freshly sealed walls, and of cold air that moves through spaces where there shouldn't be any airflow. No one truly knows how deep the tunnels go, and maybe that's the way Portland wants it. Because if you keep digging into the city's buried veins, you eventually find that the darkness isn't just under the streets. It's in the history itself. The Forgotten Tunnels. Los Angeles, the city of angels, a place built on dreams, sunshine, and illusion. But beneath the palm trees and freeways, under the movie studios and glittering towers, another Los Angeles sleeps, one built on secrets, smuggling, and survival. Few realize that underneath downtown LA lies an entire network of tunnels, stretching from Union Station to City Hall, from Chinatown to the Old Hall of Justice. Today, most of them are sealed, but for decades, they were the city's arteries, carrying everything Los Angeles didn't want the world to see. The story begins in the 1920s when Los Angeles was booming. Oil money, Hollywood, and politics made the city rich and corrupt. Prohibition had outlawed alcohol, but that didn't stop anyone from drinking. Speakeasies, secret bars, and underground clubs thrived beneath the city streets. The tunnels became their lifeline. Bootleggers used them to move whiskey from hidden distilleries to private lounges. Even politicians and police officers used the same tunnels, some to raid, others to party. During this time, one of the most notorious figures was Chief James Davis, head of the LAPD. He publicly promised to clean up the city, but privately, his men were known to use the tunnels to smuggle contraband and money. Los Angeles became a city of dual identities, lawful on the surface, lawless below. And when Prohibition ended in 1933, the tunnels didn't close. They simply changed purpose. By the 1940s, new rumors began to surface. Some tunnels were said to connect to hidden storage vaults for gold shipments from the Federal Reserve. Others led to fallout shelters built during the Cold War. There were even whispers that certain tunnels beneath Bunker Hill were used to transport prisoners secretly between courthouses and jails, away from the public eye. One of the most chilling discoveries came in the 1980s when city workers repairing an old elevator shaft near First Street broke into a sealed tunnel. Inside, they found century-old furniture, rusted typewriters, and a single desk covered in dust, as if someone had simply stood up one day and never returned. No one ever figured out what that forgotten office had been used for. Today, much of the old network is closed to the public, but a few places still reveal glimpses of it. The old Pacific Electric Building, the Bradbury Building, and the tunnels beneath the Hall of Records. Urban explorers who ventured into these depths describe a city trapped in another time. Graffiti from the 1930s still clinging to walls, broken light bulbs that haven't glowed in decades, and old whiskey bottles lying in pools of stagnant water. Some call these tunnels haunted, others say they're historical relics. But one thing is certain, Los Angeles was built on secrecy, and like all secrets, it refuses to stay buried forever. The town that burned itself alive. In the heart of Pennsylvania lies a ghost town that still breathes, literally. The ground there moves, cracks, and exhales heat. Smoke rises from the soil like whispers from below. This is Centralia, a town that burned itself alive and never died. Once, Centralia was like any other mining town. Families lived close, children played in the streets, and coal was the lifeblood of everything. Beneath the town stretched a massive network of mines, tunnels filled with black rock and dangerous air. It was hard work, but it kept the town alive. Then in May of 1962, something changed. A small fire was started in a local landfill. No one's sure exactly how. Some say it was a careless spark. Others believe it was an attempt to burn trash that spread out of control. But that fire found a vent, an opening that led directly into the abandoned coal mines below. Once it entered, it never came out. The coal seam caught fire and the flames began to spread beneath the ground. What began as a small blaze became an inferno that no one could stop. The fire crept silently beneath homes, roads, and cemeteries. Smoke began to leak through cracks in the streets. The ground grew hot enough to melt shoes. Carbon monoxide seeped into basements. months. Centralia was dying from below. The government tried to put the fire out. They poured water, dug trenches, even tried to block the flames with clay barriers. Nothing worked. The fire had sunk too deep, spreading through a maze of old tunnels that no one could fully map. By the 1980s, the town was collapsing, literally. Sinkholes opened without warning, swallowing yards, cars, even a 12-year-old boy who barely escaped with his life. The government ordered an evacuation and most residents left. Their houses were demolished, their addresses erased. Only a handful refused to go. Today, Centralia's population stands at less than 5. The town's streets still exist, but they lead to nowhere. Street signs stand in front of empty lots and mailboxes sit beside fields of weeds. The fire below still burns. Scientists believe it could continue for another 200 years. Some say Centralia was a tragedy. Others call it a warning, a reminder of what happens when human ambition digs too deep and ignores what lies beneath. But those who visit the ruins talk about something else. They say they can still hear faint rumbles beneath the earth, like the sound of breathing, as if the town itself refuses to rest. Centralia isn't just a place consumed by fire, it's a living scar, a reminder that even when a city dies, its ghosts never stop moving. The underground web that connects it all. Beneath the highways, skyscrapers, and neon lights of modern America, there's another country, one most people never see and few believe exists. It's not marked on any map, it doesn't appear in history books, but if you trace the stories, the buried tunnels of Seattle, the Shanghai passages of Portland, the secret corridors beneath Los Angeles, and the burning ruins of Centralia, you start to see something chilling. They're not isolated, they're connected. Not by coincidence, but by design. For over 2 centuries, America has been building upward, chasing light, speed, and power. But at the same time, something else was being built downward. A network of forgotten infrastructure. Pieces of a puzzle scattered across a continent. A shadow version of the country, built beneath the one we know. It started with survival. Floods, fires, and war drove people underground. Then came progress. Tunnels for railways, sewers, and subways. But somewhere along the line, that practical network became something more. Governments saw the potential. Corporations saw opportunity. And those with power saw a place where secrets could live. Unseen, untouched, and unrecorded. From Cold War bunkers in Los Angeles to hidden military sites buried beneath Pennsylvania's mountains. From sealed subway expansions under New York to unmarked tunnels beneath the deserts of Nevada, the underground became America's vault, a place where the past, the dangerous, and the classified could all be buried together. And yet, the deeper you dig, the stranger it gets. In Seattle, the streets were raised, but the underground was never fully sealed. In Portland, the Shanghai tunnels connect to basements miles from the docks with no clear purpose. In Los Angeles, sections of the old Prohibition network link directly to federal utility lines that no one admits exist. And in Centralia, the mine fire still burns through shafts that lead into other, older tunnels, carved long before coal was ever mined there. Coincidence? Or a design that no one was ever meant to notice? Some urban historians believe that during the early 20th century, several U.S. cities quietly integrated their underground systems, not through a single master plan, but through a pattern of necessity and secrecy. Each layer was built on the bones of another. Each disaster buried one truth and revealed another. And with every generation, America didn't just expand, it sank deeper into itself. Today, those who explore these hidden worlds, urban archaeologists, tunnel explorers, historians, describe eerie similarities. Brickwork that matches across states, sealed doorways leading into nowhere, cables and pipes that vanish into walls no one remembers building. It's as if the country's underworld is quietly breathing, alive, connected, and growing. But maybe it's not just about the tunnels. Maybe it's about what they represent. Every society hides what it can't face. For America, that means entire histories, erased towns, forgotten crimes, abandoned industries, and buried ambitions. What began as practical construction became psychological. The deeper we buried our failures, the more we built above them. And now, in the 21st century, we're once again looking down. Sinkholes are opening in places that shouldn't exist. Construction crews are hitting brick walls 30 feet below new developments. Government records mention unmapped infrastructure. And every few years, someone finds a tunnel, a room, or a passage that no one can explain. It's as if the underground is remembering itself. Maybe that's the true story here. Not the tunnels, not the fires, not the ghosts, but the idea that beneath the image of progress, America has always been hiding its other half. A buried reflection of itself. Darker, older, and still moving in the dark. The question is, are we uncovering the past or waking it up? Because what lies beneath America isn't gone. It's waiting, patient, alive, and closer than anyone wants to believe. deeper we dig into America's underground, the more it feels like the country itself was built on a secret, a nation that rose to the sky while burying its shadows just below the surface. From the forgotten streets of Seattle, the nightmare tunnels of Portland, from the secret vaults of Los Angeles to the burning ghost of Centralia, each story is another doorway, another layer of truth that refuses to stay hidden, because what lies beneath isn't just history. It's the story of ambition, greed, and fear, of what we choose to remember and what we choose to bury. And maybe that's why these places still call to us. No matter how deep they're sealed, no matter how long they've been forgotten, something always finds a way to resurface. A cracked wall, a broken floor, a tunnel that shouldn't exist. It's America's past whispering through the ground, reminding us that the truth doesn't stay buried forever. If you want to keep exploring what's been hidden beneath our world, the lost cities, secret tunnels, and underground empires no one was meant to find, then hit the like button, subscribe to Elite Existence, and comment below what secret you want uncovered next. Because every story has a surface, and then there's what lies below. And somewhere out there, beneath your very feet, the next one is already waiting.